Thanks, Al. Thanks, Al. Good morning, everybody. Just to address George's point before, we are on track for ramp up on the 220 in the years to come for 14 units. So that's the official Airbus version of that. Let me start today with a little bit of a personal story. The other day, Monday, when I was coming here to Miami, I was reflecting on the time that I joined Airbus more than 10 years ago. And at that time, I was working on the defense side of the business. And I remember through internal conferences, gatherings like these ones, I had the opportunity to meet colleagues, friends, acquaintances that work in business aviation at the time. And really, to be honest with you, I could not wrap my hand around it. Because for me, business aviation, private aviation was rich people flying left to right for fun without really paying attention to the final bill. And being completely honest with you, how stupid I was, how misinformed, because I really didn't know better. Since then, thank God, I've learned, I've grown, and I've seen what business aviation really is. And we all here understand the efficiencies and productivity that business aviation brings to businesses and people. People who really takes care on where and how they invest their money. And the jets is one of those investments. And that's really my point today, because did you know that by simply flying ACJ aircraft or choosing ACJ, customers, stakeholders, your customers, these people that I was mentioning before, could realize up to $3 million savings versus any other large cabin jet? And that's the point that I'm going to tackle in the next few minutes with you guys. Really share with you who we are in Airbus Corporate Jets, what we do, and the solutions we do have available for the marketplace, and what it makes ACJ aircraft very reliable and safe investments to making. So before I jump into the what and the how, let me start with the why. Why we are here, why in Miami? Well, because our presence in the US is not a glimpse, it's really something strong and it's growing by the minute. Right now, we have more than 5,000 aircraft in service with US operators, from commercial airliners to helicopters, and as well in the US military. Our contribution to the US economy is very strong. Right now, more than 15 billion on this economy, and the largest US export customer for aerospace sector. But the most important thing among all of that is the over 5,000 people, employees, my colleagues, that we work here in more than 13 sites, including final assembly lines for 220 and A320 in Alabama, and as well helicopters in Mississippi. As well, here close to Miami International Airport, we do have a state-of-the-art training center for all the Airbus aircraft families. So that's the point, let's say, on the US, and stay in the US, but now focusing on our industry. Well, business aviation in the US is as strong as ever. It's very solid. It's very mature, and it's still growing. Right now, there are roughly 15,300 planes in service. And to put that into perspective, that's really 6 times versus Europe, which is number 2 in total installed fleet. Okay? Among those, 1,600 of them is what we call really the large cabin aircraft. That's the sector, that's the domain, that's the market we compete in ACJ, even more now with the launch of the ACJ 220. And really in Airbus, in ACJ, we do have a very strong portfolio to address the needs and interest and necessities of these customers out there. One thing that I love about ACJ is we always try to keep tabs with the market, try to see what customers and stakeholders may need. And because of that, we commissioned a study a few months ago, and we have the results very recently, to get the key trends and how the US business aviation market is evolving. And let me share with you some of the key points during my speech today, which, by the way, are very well aligned with what Don, Alan, and Rolly were mentioning yesterday in the panel later in the afternoon. Basically, senior leadership in US corporations, they mentioned that business aviation is crucial for the business today, but as well for the growth in the future. It's not just a business tool, but a true force multiplier to gain key efficiencies and advantages in their day-to-day businesses. And according to them, this trend is not just stable, but is going to be upwards in the years to come because the utilization is going to be larger and larger, not only in number of flights, but as well in the number of people within their companies that they're going to make use of business aviation. And that gets me to the second point of this study. The importance that these corporations place on business aviation, it's really so great that majority of these companies, they expect their corporations to go for newer, more efficient, but also larger airplanes in the next 5 years to cope with that additional demand of flying more people in their companies to ensure their well-being and their productivity on board. And on that trend, on that note, ACJ, we are uniquely positioned to fulfill those needs. Why so? Because we do have a diverse customer base with different necessities and different demands, each of them. As you see there on the slides, on one side of the spectrum, we do have governments. What do the governments need and they are looking for? Well, for them it's important the capacity, the security, and as well the safety on board. On the other side of the spectrum, we have in there private individuals. And private individuals, as you well know, what is really important is the level of customization and as well the performance of the aircraft. And on the middle ground, if I may say like that, we do have corporations looking for business tools where really the pair between performance and investment optimization is key. Talking a little bit about us, in ACJ, we do have right now roughly 210 aircraft in service, flying in all continents. To put that into perspective, if we were an airline, we would be on the top 15 of Airbus operators and customers out there. 50%, half of our customer base, are governments, and the other half is equally split roughly between corporations and private individuals. As you can see here on the left-hand side, the average age is roughly 15 years, and that is driven by governments because, as you can imagine, they tend to keep their aircraft longer. That doesn't mean that they are all planes, because thanks to the continuous innovation strategy and the family commonality that we have, we do retrofit and we do fit the latest developments on those planes to keep them to the latest standards. So that's the footprint we have today across the globe. But what is the true DNA of ACJ? So we developed aircraft and cabin where everyone on board can experience space, but as well innovation like any other jet. And the most important thing is for us, is the passenger well-being. That is always there, no matter which ACJ aircraft or family we are talking about. We benefit, for sure, of the solid and mature airline heritage that we do have in Airbus. So we have optimized platforms to ensure seamless operations and as well very robust cost efficiencies across our family. Today, let me focus a little bit on our first true business jet, if I may say like that, the ACJ 220. And our value proposition with the 220, the DNA of this aircraft is basically threefold. First of all, comfort, performance, and as well economics. And all of them intertwined, shown with the latest innovations across the airframe, the aircraft, but as well the cabin. All of them are important, all of them are key, and the ACJ 220, we try to bring the best of both worlds from traditional, let's say, business jets, if I may say that way, and the beastliners, combine them all together. Acquisition cost similar to a large business jet, intercontinental range to fly our customer missions, and then the operating cost of the beastliner. That's our value proposition with the AC220. Basically, the ACJ 220 sits there in the middle, being a very comparable solution, a perfect balance, and as well a choice without compromises for our prospective customers out there. And let me go right now one by one to each of those building blocks to give you a little bit more of understanding of what the AC220 really is. If we start with the cabin space, with the comfort level, our customers, your customers, what they want is to go from point A to point B. But we do not offer only A to B. We carry the lifestyles with them, either their office, if it's their office in the skies, if it's their family apartment, no matter what it is, everything can fit into the ACJ 220. As you see there on the screen, we offer 3 times the cabin space and 2 times the cabin volume versus any other competitor in the marketplace. And the big differentiator as well is we do that with very similar external dimensions. But what I say time and time again, the big beauty and the beauty of all our ACJ aircraft, and the 220 is not stranger to that, is on the inside. We offer 786 square feet of cabin real estate divided in 6 zones, as you can see on the screen. Really a choice or an endless choice from more corporate interior to more VVIP cabin arrangement depending on our customer needs. Having the real estate of 2 to 3 times more cabin space is already great, but it's not just the sake or the space for the sake of the space. It's what we do with that blank canvas. And we do offer a lot of innovative features, a lot of wellness possibilities and well-being on board. Quietness across the cabin, up to 11 true sleeping position, king-size bed, a stand-tall shower, and I can go on and on. Crafted from the inside out, the feeling of ultimate comfort and well-being is paramount and constantly present on the ACJ 220. But is that enough? No, I was mentioning before. Our customers, they want flexibility and productivity to reach their destinations and fly their world. So the 220, as you see there, offers 12 hours of non-stop range. From Miami, basically, all the Americas, Western Europe, and Western Africa within reach, and realistically, one stop to the rest of the world. And when I say flexibility, just a few seconds ago, I did it on purpose. Because the ACJ 220 as well, and this might be somewhat counterintuitive, is a perfect aircraft for short, challenging airfields, needing roughly 800 feet less than what somewhat would call the benchmark in business aviation, the G650ER. What that means is our customers, your customers, would not lose any kind of flexibility in their operations, and they don't need to go to LAX, JFK, Miami International. They will operate out of the same business aviation airports with the ACJ 220. So the ACJ 220 can take our customers where they want, from where they want to, and as well when they want to. Because we benefit, as I mentioned, from the airline heritage. And the ACJ 220 is built upon the robust and already proven platform the A220 is. Right now, we do have more than 900 orders, 350 deliveries, and counting. But the most important part of all the numbers that you see there on the slide is more than 2 million flight hours and more than 1 million flight cycle already under the belt of the A220 program. That means that is proven, that is mature, is solid, but it still has a lot of room for growth, and we benefit from that on the ACJ side. And looking there on the left-hand side, the ACJ version of the 220 family is as well spreading its wings. We do have, as of today, 2 aircraft in service. That fleet has logged over 1,200 hours, and both customers are extremely happy with their planes because, again, these are true business tools. They are helping them to realize business efficiencies and make their businesses go to a higher level, thanks to the performance, thanks to the cabin comfort, so they can still and carry their lifestyle with them, work on board, and wrapping all that up with unbeatable economics. And that's the key point here, because it might be counterintuitive and somewhat that people they may not understand a lot in the marketplace, but thanks to the features that I mentioned before, and as well our airliner heritage, and simply by flying the ACJ 220, our customers could realize 1/3 operating cost savings versus large cabin jets. Built in with new efficient design, advanced materials, latest technologies, modern and efficient engines, and as well the low utilization program we have developed for maintenance, we can achieve these big operating cost savings, thanks as well to the very cost-efficient training program we have for the aircrew. So if we put that percentage into money on a 10-year life cycle, what would that mean? Those 9 million that you see there. And that by no means, that's a small delta. Same way the ACJ aircraft and ACJ 220 in this particular have positive impact on the economics and the operating cost of our customers, business aviation has wide positive benefits for the US economy, sometimes overlooked. And hey, guilty as charged, as I mentioned before, I didn't know a few years ago what business aviation was all about. As some of the panelists before they were mentioning, business aviation provides a lifeline to local communities that they are either not serviced by commercial airlines or commercial airlines are pulling out of those economies or those regions. And it's not only the service they provide, they as well create high-value employment over there, from pilots, engineers, service people. That's something that business aviation is giving out to these local communities in the US. For sure, as well, all the growth and all these benefits for corporations that I mentioned at the very beginning of the presentation. And the study we did, they had as well a couple of very interesting features, is that these senior leaderships, they put a lot of, or the spotlight as well, on how corporate aviation could be used as well for philanthropic causes and supporting and helping on emergency responding and humanitarian missions. And that's something that we see more and more. And ACJ aircraft, we are at the forefront of those, let's say, roles, because we already do those things. We do have a couple of ACJ 319s flying frequently, when weather allows, into Antarctica to support scientific endeavors in there. We rely, as you can imagine, on the robustness of our aircraft because they are derived from the airline world, capable to fly 3,000, 4,000, 5,000 hours. So corporate aviation usage is a walk in the park. But it's not only having a reliable plane. It's having the people, having the infrastructure, having the facilities, the warehouses, the training centers, the MROs. So all the Airbus support network at the disposal of our customers around the clock. Right now, the Airbus fleet is over 14,000 planes. And as you can imagine, keeping 14,000 birds flying is not an easy feat. And doing that cost-effectively for our customers and operators, we take immense pride on it, and as well, we try to do it every day with the utmost care, and that's something that as well is leverages and is coming into the ACJ fleet and the ACJ customers. I highlighted before how strong business aviation is. But to keep it that way and keep nurturing its growth and its development, aircraft financing is key. The study that we commissioned suggests that aircraft finance will be more accessible with better rates and become, let's say, the trigger and the driver for this continuous expansion of business aviation in the 5 next years to come. In particular, as I mentioned, the appetite for larger aircraft could become easier to digest because securing financing against them and as well the growth of operating leasings is something that we see and our customers and these companies and brokers, they see coming in the next couple of years, ensuring the business aviation domain in the US keeps the strength upwards. And on that point, ACJ aircraft are very reliable, robust assets to invest in. And again, the reasons behind that are threefold, same as with the DNA strands that I mentioned before on the 220. First, we are built to order. Second, we do evolution and not revolution in our product development. And three, we keep somewhat the pre-owned market control with very few ACJ assets in the marketplace at any given time. We pair customer demand with our production. Being built to order means that we don't have white tails at the end of the year stressing the market and driving the resale prices down. As well as what we do on the 220 with its signature flexible cabin, having some level of cabin standardization helps to keep the remarketing easier for our customers when any of these aircraft come into the pre-owned market. The second point is the family commonality, where developments that we do time and time again, we put a lot of our investments and effort in R&D, it can be retrofitted into the rest of the fleet, ensuring that our customers, they always have the latest standards. That contradicts a little bit with other OEMs in the business aviation space, where every single time they introduce new model, it affects a little bit, first of all, the commonality with previous models, and as well the residual and the resale prices of those previous models on the marketplace. And the third leg of this residual value or the strong value retention trifecta is the inventory and the pre-owned marketplace for ACJs. ACJs are very sought for assets in this market, and at any single time we have very limited aircraft in the market. And that helps really keeping the resale and residual prices value up. To put this as an example, as of today, we do have only 3 aircraft in the market. And if we do the comparison, that would be 2% of our installed fleet, where in business aviation, the total fleet right now, the available aircraft for sale will sit in on the 8 to 9%. So you see there is a huge difference out there. And when I put all those factors together, then you can clearly see in that graph the excellent track record of ACJs in the pre-owned market. Those are the data points of transactions for ACJ 319 aircraft. And we took the 319 because really the value proposition and the features it has, they relate very well with the ACJ 220 in terms of cabin real estate, in terms of performance. An aggregated average, that dotted line, of 3% depreciation per year basis. And some of them, as you can see on that chart, over the 2% line suggested and forecasted by Bank of America in previous editions. But in any case, the biggest point or the main point of this chart is that ACJs can offer double the value retention versus any other large cabin competitor. And that makes ACJ aircraft, including the 220, once again, strong, safe, resistant, very interesting values or interesting assets to invest in. So, contrary to what my young self believed back in the day, corporate private aviation is about really maximizing time, creating a place where our customers, your customers, they could simply run their business without making any compromises. Time is money, and money, as you well know, talks. And whether if it's greeting clients, flying and working in the skies, making strategic decisions, or simply taking a break after a long business days, at ACJ, we do have the space and the technologies to enable to do so. So flying an ACJ is not only about the plane, it's not only about the cabin, about the features. It's about the productivities and efficiencies that come with it. And that is really the reason we are in business. So we can bring our customers where it matters, when it matters, in style. Thank you very much.